we look to build solid relationship with. So we bring the piece in where we bring some seed capital to where we invest in our own money, due diligence capital as well, right? Additionally, my partner, Dr. Jones, is really, really good with numbers because he does a lot of research. So he assists our company with underwriting. I focus on building relationships, right? And we bring all the stuff together.
Welcome to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate Show. Whether you are an active or passive investor, we'll teach you how to scale your real estate investing business into something big.
Hutch the Marine Investor is a Master Gunnery Sergeant E9 in the United States Marine Corps. He's still on active duty, though he focuses on building his real estate portfolio by co-sponsoring the acquisition of multifamily property. Hutch, welcome to the show.
Oh, man. Thank you so much for having me, my brother.
Pleasure's mine. 3 questions I ask every guest who comes on the show. Where did you start? Where are you now? How did you get there? But you got to tell me in less than 90 seconds.
Ooh, man, I don't know if I can do that. My stuff go really deep, man. So look, in 90 seconds, this is who Hutch the Marine Investor is. This whole thing, man, this whole thing that we have going on started on what used to be a slave plantation on the island of Jamaica, right? I spent the early year of my life walking to school bare feet. Then I came to immigrate to America in 1998. Shortly after that, I joined the Marine Corps, traveled the world, but I've not been to Africa yet. I'm super excited to go to Africa one day. I might need to go there on a vacation, right? So I was fortunate when I came to America. My dad kind of get me thinking about owning some or more of America through real estate. So I got that seed planted in my head real early when I came to America. So the paradigm was single family space, but it was not until 2019 that I transitioned to the multifamily space and just focus on growing right now.
Wow, that's fantastic. So in 2019, you'd had enough of single family.
Correct.
You still own in the single family portfolio?
Just 2 right now. One in Cali, one in Florida. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you've divested of those assets and now you're going long in the multifamily space. How have you been able to do that, being active in the Marine Corps and probably getting deployed at least a few times?
Yeah. So one thing, if you know anything about the Marine Corps, is that Marine Corps expect and appreciate nothing less than 100% commitment, right, and effort. So I learned a quote not too long ago by Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? A lady asked him a question like, where do you find time to work out? My business schedule is X, Y, and Z. And he asked the lady, do you sleep? And the lady said, yes. And he said, sleep faster. Right. So 8th grade capital, we started off at mastermind, and my partner, Dr. Jones, and I, we started off masterminding at 4 a.m. in the morning. So wake up and we will make notes. We work on our content, podcasts, recording, or just creating the business in general. Right. And we work on it also late at night, because my partner, Dr. Jones, he's a GS-14. He does auditory research for the Army out in Fort Rucker in Alabama. So he too have a large commitment throughout the day, so our focus is more in the morning. But we have promoted ourselves to a point where we can create more flexibility in the days to where our lunch hours can actually be lunch hours, and we can take some time to make investor calls, property managers, so on and so forth.
That's awesome. Now, you're co-sponsoring, or you have gone out and started to buy deals on your own?
Yeah, so we did our first lead sponsor back in last quarter of 2021, which is a small 26 unit we purchased in Augusta, Georgia, right? We do have a team that was syndicated, but Ethan and I are one of the lead sponsor in that deal.
That's awesome. Yeah. Very, very cool. What do your Marine buddies think about what you do?
Man, they're fascinated with right now. So there's a split, right? Because in the Marine Corps, right, anything that does not have to do with winning our country's war, right, and making Marine is of second nature. Right. So needless to say, there's a portion of it. There's a portion of my peers that frowned on it, right, because they see it as a distraction. But when you're waking up at 4 a.m. and when you're working on the business after the kids go to sleep, then you are not really affecting the mission. Right. But you get to impact your family's future and also the future of the investors that you bring on with us in the investment world. But there's a certain population in the Marine Corps that understand that at one point this uniform comes off, or the uniform comes off, right? And yet still you remain. and your responsibility and your obligation and your duty to continuously provide for your family and also improve the trajectory of your family bloodline. So it's mixed and it depends on who you're talking to, right? So you got to feel those conversations out to feel what will this conversation be about? Will it be hoorah motivated conversation about the Marine Corps, talking about, chest puller and, future projection of Marine Corps? Or do we talk about mindset, right? And do we mix the mindset in with our responsibility to the ones that care most about us, which is our family? So the conversation is different, and we have to choose who we have those conversations with.
Yeah, that's really well said. Tell me about when I ask you, or when I say the word success, what does that mean?
Oh man, so I tell you right now, Sam, we could say that success looks like XYZ, but what do we really know? I think if I should describe success right now, it would be based on my limited understanding of what's possible, right? So I gradually change what I believe success look like. Sure. But one of the things that always remain constant is not getting to the end of my life and, meeting the person that I could have been and not recognizing that individual. I would like to be at the end of my life, and wherever we go, heaven, hell, or to a next realm or next dimension, whatever the case may be, right? I would like to meet, what I could be, right? And I can identify with that guy, be like, man, you look like me in the spiritual form, whatever it is. It could be a black, white, Asian, whatever the spiritual form look like, right? I would like to be able to say we have similar qualities and I've grown to what my expectation was. I believe that's what success looked like. But for me, it continues to change while we're in this realm.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah. I think success is a constantly morphing term. But I was just curious what it sounds like for you. And I think the way I like the way you've put that, in that when you meet your future self, you will want to know who you are then in such a way that you're like, oh, hey, I met my potential. That's maybe, does that sound like a fair synopsis of that?
Yeah, absolutely is. So it's good to have somebody in your life to chase, right? But I think a lot of times we burden ourselves with we're trying to be others. And I'm a firm believer that we can only be the best version of our current self, right? So I'm also chasing that person as well, right? So my paradigm of what I can be continuously change as well. So, that's why we all set goals, right? Michael Blanc talks about, planning is going to the future, bring it to the present, and then doing something about it, right? And if we continue chasing our future self, then success would always be improving as we set bigger and better goals for ourselves.
That's awesome. I love that. Tell me how you guys are finding opportunity right now. I mean, the multifamily space is currently not known for its lack of competition.
Yeah, so it's really cool that you bring up the word competition, because when we have the abundance mindset, right? That I know I saw you at the Best Ever conference. We didn't really get an opportunity to speak, right? But when we're in an environment like that, we get people sharing this abundance of information, right? So what happened is that a lot of us, we're there to create better relationship. We see a lot of folks in this virtual world, but we get to get a firm handshake and look people square in the face and, kind of get the feel of their character, right? So we get to realize that we are more core-petitors than we are competitors. So at H Square Capital, we look for more core-petitors, right? Folks who are actually day in, day out in the market, underwriting deals, underwriting markets, analyzing markets. And those are the folks we will look to build solid relationship with. So we bring the piece in where we bring some seed capital to where we invest in our own money, due diligence capital as well, right? Additionally, my partner, Dr. Jones, is really, really good with numbers because he does a lot of research. So he assists our company with underwriting. I focus on building relationships, right? And we bring all the stuff together. So we help to get the deal past closing. And then after closing, we manage our investor relation. So that's what we're doing right now. We focus on making good relationship with folks who are on the ground in the market every day and building more core-petitors.
I like the play on words there. Tell me about your nickname.
Remember I tell you earlier, it's Shelon or Hutch, right? So everything, it has to be memorable. I believe, the ones who crave the most attention in marketing, I believe will come out on top, or actually not necessarily come out on top, will stay top of mind, right? I don't believe Shelon is a memorable name, right? But Hutch, the Marine Investor, I believe, is a memorable name. Now, look, the reason why I got to Hutch is that my wife built some awareness in my life long time ago in our relationship. She asked me, and 20 years of marriage, I've never once called her out of her name. We never once had a fight. We've had some solid moments, right? But we have had some really deep conversation that help us to build a better understanding of who we are as spiritual being. And in one of our conversations, really early in our relationship, she asked me this question. She said, "Can you help me to understand why, whenever you introduce yourself to a female, you introduce yourself as Shelon, but when you meet a guy, is real manly, I'm Hutch." So she raised that awareness, and awareness is a foundation of changing or improving who you can be, right? So right then and there, I said, really thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will go by Hutch from now on to eliminate any explanation going into the future. So when I started investing, I'm like, yep, what can make the name Hutch a little more memorable? And that's why I transitioned to Hutch the Marine Investor, because once a Marine, always a Marine. So I could be a former Marine, used to be active duty, whatever the case may be, right? But I will always be Hutch the Marine Investor, because once you go to boot camp and complete a successful completion of training, that is one thing no one can ever take away from you. I will always be a Marine under whatever circumstances.
What are the systems? What are the processes that you feel like they're kind of cross-discipline skills from the Marines to real estate investing?
Look, so there's a couple things, Sam, and one of the things I want to focus on is morale. So morale is the confidence and enthusiasm, and is also the discipline in a group. But not only in a group, it's in yourself. And when you have the confidence backed by enthusiasm and discipline, right, that builds competence. And competence is something that, as you know, Sam, investors are looking for. So I think morale, right, having the confidence, enthusiasm, and discipline to build competence as a real estate investor. I believe investors look to that for people who they want to invest with, and I believe that directly transfer over from the morale that we have in the Marine Corps, right, from being a go-getter, never quit, right, until you're successful on the mission. Right. I believe that's a skill that's transferred. But look, also, as a Marine, everyone need a friend, a purpose, right? And an opportunity to belong to something greater than himself. And that's why in the Marine Corps, if you transfer from the Army or any branch of service to the Marine Corps, you have to go through the Marine Corps boot camp, right? That is by design because of the way Marines are created. Right? Because we accept nothing less than 100% commitment. So everyone in the Marine Corps, we believe that we are part of something greater than ourselves. So everyone needs a friend, a purpose, and an opportunity to belong to something greater than themselves. And I believe when you have impact investing in real estate syndication, right, like H Square Capital, the way we give back to our community is that 10% of all our acquisition fee goes to a nonprofit organization that benefits our veterans. I believe that a lot of folks can get behind that, right? So a lot of these skills transfer over, and I could go down a rabbit hole of a lot more skills. And yes.
That's really, really cool. I love what you guys are doing. I love building in the ability to, we've done that on all of our deals as well, where it's, hey, this is what we're supporting. It doesn't impact investor returns because it comes out of the general partnership side. But as limited partners get involved, it's like, hey, by investing with us, you can make a difference, again, without it impacting your return. So I think that's really, really cool. Tell me something along these lines. What's something you're curious about right now? Is there something economically? Is there something in the business? What's something you're curious about?
So I really wish we had a crystal ball to see what the future projection of the economy of the United States look like, right? But one of the things that I'm absolutely curious about, Sam, is how do I create a family office to where when my grandkids graduate from whatever high level of education they choose to go to, whether it be high school and they want to start a business, or they go to a university and they want to start a business after that, I never want them to worry about how their education will be paid for. I never want them to worry about where would they get the seed money to buy their first investment property or start their own business. And I believe family office is a way to do that. So that's one of the things that have my curiosity. And also, how do I own nothing but control everything? Right. I'm super fascinated by that concept. And it's the things that I'm pulling together a lot of information to actually execute in the very near future.
Own nothing but control everything. Can you elaborate on that in less than 60 seconds?
Less than six a second.
Yep.
So if we hear a lot of folks where they have these they got these trust funds, right? And they don't really own it, but they get to benefit from it, right? Or a family office where it's controlled by a trustee to navigate certain elements, one, the tax advantages, right? And certain ways of getting it to transcend several bloodlines, right? And that's kind of what I'm focusing on. Look, I don't have all the details yet, but as you said, that's something that I'm super fascinated and curious about, how that really works and how can I incorporate that into the Hutchinson bloodline.
I love it. Own nothing but control everything. That's a brilliant motto there. Hutch, thanks for coming on today. It's been a blast. Last question for you. If our listeners want to get in touch with you or learn more about you, what's the best way to do that?
The best way to do that is connect with me on LinkedIn at Hutch the Marine Investor on LinkedIn, or you can shoot me an email at hutch@h2 capital. We also got a website and a podcast. Our website is the h2capital.com, right? And our podcast, the Multifamily Real Estate Experiment podcast. Heath and I, we interview 63 guests, and each topic dissect a aspect of multifamily real estate that, whether you're a passive investor or active investor, will be of interest to you.
Awesome. Hutch, thanks for your time today. Do appreciate it.
Thank you so much, my brother.